The following seminar was recorded live at the Los Angeles Sheraton Hotel on Sunday, April 14th, 2002. And now from the Foundation of Human Understanding, here is Roy Masters.
So what's happening is that you have one central vampire, the origin of things, spreading out through the whole human race, and that origin feeding on all of us. Do you understand that point? Evil has an origin spreading through the whole human race. And so it goes through innocent people too, people who are victims, creating victims. We don't mean to hurt each other, but we are conduits of it anyway. Follow that? And so therefore, that's what you're dealing with. So that's the reason why you do unto others what was done unto you. Because when you are hurt, you fall and you give up your life force. You give up your energy. You give up who you are, more of who you are, because you're already born under that system already. It's almost like we're all vampires in transition, feeding ourselves into one another, see? And doing unto others, taking our frustrations on our children, on the innocent. You marry and you take it out on your husband, or you marry and he takes that out on you because his mother destroyed him, so he has to destroy you. That sort of thing. And you're innocent, well, relatively so. And so therefore you're the victim. You give your life force up to that person. And you see, the lady was mentally ill, says she was mentally ill, also gave her life force up to her husband. See, and her mental illness was the fact that she had a conflict with the identity that's inside her. She has an identity, an entity inside her. And it's more than just emotions. It's an entity. It's an id entity, identity. It's the wrong kind of identity. I have an identity, it's God's, rooted in Creator. But then when you sin, the identity is displaced, you have an identity displacement. And that's why you need the love of the object that seduces you. It becomes your ground of being, it's your God. But instead of your God giving you, it's only giving you illusion. And in exchange for that illusion, that's all you got. The illusion of being alive emotionally, you give something of yourself. You see? You give your life force, and as you do, if you get into it, it gets into you. And the moment you get into it, you get this euphoria, you get in love. That moment, that high, is the moment it inserts itself. That's why you can't see it. It stings you with its love. It stings you when you get angry. That moment you get angry enough, the rush comes up with it, and with the energy, as you get into that anger, and you take the forbidden fruit, the judgment, it wants you to be mad because it separates you from God. And it enters you, and it also wants to be God. But it also can't be God without stealing bodies. It can't create its own bodies, can't even create its own dirt. But it has to steal what God's created. That's called seduction or temptation. See? And those armies of the world are like that. Evil armies of the world are like that. They're everywhere. So understand what you're dealing with. It's also inside you. So what you get into gets into you. Now, so you've got to deal with evil both places. It's still outside, teasing you, loving you, offering you the teasers, the twin teasers of love and hate. See? So you have to get above that. But a lot of us, when we get above those thoughts, as we start to get above it, we start to see ourselves as we never saw ourselves before. We don't see a self. We see another self. That's scary. That's when a lot of people stop meditating. Who knows what I'm talking about? How many? Let me see a whole show. Keep your hands up. So you already experienced that, haven't you? You've seen another self. And maybe you see it's ugly. How many people have had exorcisms already? See? But as a matter of course, you might have it. You may have it, you may not. You'll be meditating one night, and all of a sudden, strange things happen. And then you're over it, and you're a different person. You don't need this, although that's what it is. Now, one of the reasons why you need you cannot exercise, you cannot remove the core nature, because your core nature has to be replaced again. It's got to be saved, because your soul is entangled with it. Your soul is entangled. How many people felt condemned, as though you'd never ever get better, you're no use, and God will never forgive you? Have you ever had those feelings? You do, have you? Well, that's because it feels that way. Because when it feels that way, the evil that lives in people thinks through you. And you will think that because it is condemned, there's no salvation for that evil thing. But there is for you. But because it thinks through you, it makes you morbid. It makes you think that life is hopeless and that you're not worthy to come to God, and you think you've committed the unforgivable sin. Who's done that? Anybody felt that way? You see, there are quite a few. You see, and you abandon yourself to hopelessness and despair as if God wasn't unfair. And it makes you that way so that you never ever get better. You abandon yourself to that despair. Now, I don't know, this is a scattergun approach. I'm just throwing a lot of things out, but this is the general kind of things you think and feel, because it thinks through you. And I said at the beginning of the lecture this morning, you've got to get above those thoughts, and you have to start to learn to allow some of the layers of emotionality in which it lives with you. When you get into the emotion, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a good example. This, gentlemen, you'll understand this. Maybe ladies, you have the same problem. But I know men have the problem of fantasies with ladies, with women. You know, in a fantasy, you can make a woman do what you want. It's not really a woman there, but it's something that is a form. And you remember, your own mind is like a universe. And a God, if you're a God, you live in your own universe, and it's your head. See? That's your whole universe. Because you're the king of your own universe. You don't dare get outside that universe, because then you see what a nothing human being you are. You see by another light. But you see that by the light of your own dark luminescence in your own universe. And you can have dancing girls doing all what you want. So you can also be a hero in your own mind. You can be a legend in your own mind. You see? You can be an executioner. You can be anything you want. You dress up in that. But all that is entangling you with delusions. And until you get above some of that, until you start dropping those angers and emotions, and you get more and more free from the muck that you're stuck in, and you get a little clarity. There's got to come a point where you get some clarity. And when you get that clarity, and you won't get that clarity until God's ready for you, because this is a traumatic moment. Because only at a certain point when you have that inner strength, that proper connection that will enable you to survive that. Because it's very hard to survive when you see something in you that is sort of mocking you. It was there all along. You never saw it before. It's like The Exorcist, except in miniature. You see? So you've got to be very strong to learn how to deal with that, and you've got to be careful at that moment. If that ever happens to you, I'm warning you that it may happen to you, even if it doesn't happen today, it may not happen today, is that you can't allow yourself to shrink from that moment. You can't run from it. You can't allow yourself to struggle with it. You can't talk to it. You can't get mad at yourself. You can't get upset for being shown. You're going to be absolutely helpless. And you may resent your own helplessness. That is deadly. You're going to have to stand alone there, and what will happen will be a natural cry. I know you cried to God before, but it's all artificial. Oh, God, help me, in the foxhole. That's called foxhole religion. That's all emotional. And so if the war's open, you forget about God again. Well, I don't need Him anymore, you know. No, but in that moment, it's heartfelt. When you realize of yourself, you can do nothing. That's the way that you stand between those two worlds. you see it for what it is. It's revealed by the light. That's why you see it. Now you have to have enough faith to know that of yourself you can do nothing. And you must know why you see it, because the light is shining on it. There's nothing you can do. And so therefore, any struggle with it, I hope I'm not scaring you, am I? Any struggle that you have with it will involve you more, because it means you don't have the faith. Because it means that you don't believe there's anything higher than you, therefore, if you have to deal with it. And so therefore, it's a very crucial moment, it's the test of faith. Because you may think, in your lack of faith, that if you don't struggle, it won't, now you see it, you want to roll up your sleeves and fix it. You get angry with it. But if you get angry with it, you feed yourself to it. And now this is where we get to the fantasy part with the ladies, with gentlemen. When a man fantasies, or when anybody fantasies with the images in their mind, thinking they're just images, you see, temptation lives in two places. You have sex with a woman, and the image of her is the unfinished business is the trauma. Sex before marriage, sex, improprietous sex in the wrong time for lust's sake is sin. It's trauma. And therefore, the image of it gets inside you. But also comes with it is the spirit of that image. You don't see the spirit, you only see the image. Now that you've had enough sex, and you've been stung, and you've been hurt a lot, so a lot of men, they deal with pornography, because they think they're not dealing with women anymore. See? They got control over those images, so they think. However, they cannot see the spirit. God's invisible, so is the devil. But he lives in that image. And so therefore you call on the image to entertain you and excite you. All right? And then you get into the image, and something in the image gets into you. And that's where the guilt is, and that's where the anxiety is, and that's where your soul is being transmogrified and changed downward. Don't you think for 1 minute that pornography will save you from women. It may save you from women, but not save you from the devil. Pornography is one of the dangerous sins, because Jesus said it himself. You should not commit adultery, but who has it in his mind? And that's what he means by that. Who plays around with it in his head has committed it. So I tell you, therefore, you can become possessed that way. Because that's how you get possessed. And that is a sure way of being possessed. And that's also a sure way of becoming a murderer, a sex pervert. It starts to possess you and make you do terrible things. And after a while, you don't even know you're doing terrible things. Terrible things seems to be perfectly normal. You become a predator. See? See where I'm going with this? Now, no one's ever told you this before, but does it make sense to you? See? So you don't want to play with images. You ladies don't want to play with images. You don't want to play with any kind of images at all. You got to get out of the image and get away from the service of the image. Because what? Because the evil is two places. Outside you, okay, you get into it, it gets into you. When it gets into you, it makes a new home in you. It cries out to what recreated it in its image. With men, it's females. See? So you see, therefore, you get into it, it gets into you, and now the first stage is crying out for more mother, more sex, more of those illicit relationships to comfort you. But the more you get into it, the more it gets into you, and you wake up one morning and you got a witch. You wake up with a witch, and you're a son of witch, right? And so therefore you try another woman. Oh, there you start again. You go from one, but you're like a monkey, going from branch to branch, swinging by your prehensile tail. From one to another, And each one finishes you off a little bit more and leaves you burning, unsatisfied and empty and bitter, angry. And therefore you still have those needs, but you can't go to the women for it because they get you. They leave you worse off than before. So what do? You do the pornography thing. Well, women can do it too. It's very dangerous stuff because it's still inside you. It's still servicing you. It's much more intimate. You're getting to the image. It's right inside your head, your own universe. And pretty soon it emerges. And what's behind the image is what's getting into you and becoming you. You're dealing with what's behind the image, not the image itself. And when gentlemen, when you're dealing with a woman, you're dealing with what's behind the woman, not the woman herself. Your abuse of the woman is the woman unconsciously offers herself to abuse because she doesn't know how to be anything else but an enabler in the beginning. She enables to dominate, or she enables because you dominate her. But she enables no matter which way you treat her. You see? The woman is in a terrible position. And so you draw up from a woman, and it comes into you. And you empower that in the woman. And you make her powerful over you. So you may not be possessed inside like other people are possessed, but you're possessed by the woman herself. And you're just a little weaselly little wimp. You know? The woman becomes the man. The man becomes the female. Just like woman came out of man, now you have a woman-male and a female. It's all bass backwards. And she's King Kong with bloomers. It's a danger. It's a tyranny. You see? And then you have this wimpy man. Anything you say, dear? It's a tyranny, a female tyranny. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid the tyranny of evil, one way or the other. But I was mostly alluding to the tyranny of one's mind. You know, I didn't see the movie, The Beautiful Mind, because I didn't think he had a beautiful mind. But what I heard back was what they said I would have liked, and I mentioned it already, that he could solve all kinds of problems, but he couldn't solve that one. And he also had fantasies and driven by the demons. He had to learn to live with them, and some people do. They live their life, you know, somehow crazy, called crazy. It's not crazy, it's possessed. You can live your whole life possessed. You're sort of like crippled by it. Or it can take you over completely. Or it can run your life and make your life miserable and you may not even know it's there. And I want you to know that if you hold this cross up to Adolf Hitler or Saddam Hussein, he'd kill you. Because you can only exercise a person whose spirit is not welcome in them, who's not really compatible. They know there's something wrong and they're crying out for salvation. So therefore, there's got to be both of us working. You because you want salvation. You can't have it unless you want it. So crosses don't mean anything. See, this cross doesn't mean anything. Either you don't need it, or you're not ready for it, or you don't want it. See? So you can't really exercise a person, even if they're possessed, if they don't want to be, if they like the way they are. A lot of people like the way they are. They don't think they're possessed. They're just having a cool life. They don't realize that they're living a life that's going to death. And sooner or later, they're going to be the old person sitting in a wheelchair, all broken and bitter, and dying. And you know, I've mentored to people, dying people, and I learned very quickly about what's going on in dying people. And I see that I get a vision when I'm next to them. When I used to do hypnosis, I could actually, if I sat next to the person and they gave me permission, I could see into their heads. And I can see into the head of a dying person. I get impression. And what I get impression is the horror of dying. So horrible is that they don't even know they're dying. They're lost in their thoughts. They die peacefully, but they don't, a lot of them die peacefully because they don't know they're dying. They're just all the way, their consciousness goes down and down and down. The whole of life is a reduction of consciousness, the desire for unconsciousness. You see? Because they don't want to face reality. So that's where they are. But some can't help themselves. Some are conscious enough and they see as they start to die and their energies begin to drain away, the life forces drain away, they start to see, this is the horrible part, they start to see two worlds open up. They see hell. But they also see heaven pursuing them. Remember, heaven pursues a person, and to a person who's not willing to face reality, they solicit the services of hell. They escape into it. And they feel strengthened in their defiance of good, see? So what's happening is, they don't see that hell is hell for what it is. They think it's heaven. All their pleasures and excitements and their girlfriends, that sort of stuff. And then heaven is like hell, like a punisher, following you all the way to the grave. So, one looks like heaven, but it's hell. One looks like hell, but it's heaven. It's called conscience. See? The wrong in us misunderstands what conscience means. See? Hi, Jesse. Jesse Peterson, old friend. You know Jesse, don't you? Everybody know Jesse? Okay. Jesse Peters from Bond, the Brotherhood Organization for New Destiny. Anyway, let me get my point again. Is that, as they're dying, that was good to break the way because they're getting a little intense. As they're dying, and all the energies drain away, all of a sudden, they can't help seeing what they're about to be cast into. So the body dies, as the body dies, at least, when the body dies, the soul is not dead. It's kind of dead, it's separated from God. But it's still alive in there with a consciousness that didn't ever want to be conscious. See? Never wanted to serve good, but it didn't know it was being enslaved. It didn't know it was serving evil, but now suddenly it sees the consequences of its life. And it's horrible. I don't know how horrible it is, but it's horrible. But at the same time, they see heaven as hell. They have a loathing of heaven. And they see the horror of hell. But you can't stop yourself because you're attached. You're committed. It's too late. Does that frighten you? I hope it does. Life is a bridge. Life is a bridge between two dimensions. You walk across one to one side, or you walk across the other, and when the bridge collapses, that's where you are. However side you're on. It's nice if you can get close to the other side so you don't have to hang down in the gully somewhere. But that's just a bad example of it. But it's the best example I can give you. So you see, what we're dealing with now, what we may be dealing with here, after the hypnosis is done, is there may be some people on the stage who have that in them. There may be some people in the audience, see how much time we got here. We've got plenty of time to do this. Let's do the hypnosis thing first, because I'll tell you how I'll use the hypnosis. If that happens, I'll use the hypnosis because I will have control of the subconscious. And your love of where I'm coming from, where I want to take you, what I have to do, let's see if I find the words for it. Words sometimes are difficult to explain, but bear with me. A man said to Jesus, he says, Lord, I believe, but help thou my unbelief. What you have two systems of belief. You have a consciousness that is called faith. You have an unconscious called belief. It's gullible. You have a gullible side. That side is gullible to the world. And it's dragging your consciousness, your soul, which wants to believe God, which has the capacity to believe God, but it's so pulled by your imagination and the affinity to the world. You see, so I come along and I use my hypnosis. I use my power. You transfer to me. You do transfer, your allegiance to your husband, from your father to your husband, from your mother to your wife. It's transference. You do it almost naturally. Some of you just do it to me and get hung up with me. I don't want that to happen. But it's almost a natural, unnatural, I don't know what you call it. But it's almost a part of life that you do transference. But when a good man comes along and you transfer, it's called hypnosis. So you can transfer to a good person because you're transferring your conditioning to that person. But you're also you're giving me the power to say, if you notice what I say in the cassette, listen to what I say in the cassette. From now onwards, you do it because you know it's right, not because Roy said so. See how I say that? From now onwards, you do what is right in your heart. You listen to what you know is right in your heart. That you're obedient to. I'm telling your subconscious, that part of you that the world has and is pulling your soul down with it. I've got control of that, and I got a different spirit. I'm saying, don't listen to the world. Your subconscious is just a raw subconscious. It will do as I tell it. But will do as I tell it because I'm telling the subconscious what we call the subconscious. Because of my connection to it. Because through your subconscious, you're made to do all terrible things. And your soul doesn't have the sovereignty to stop it. It's dragged down with it. So I come along and say, let me be your dad. See, let me be what your father wasn't. Now you transfer that to me, and I say to you, the part of you that couldn't control itself, the part of you that's controlled by the world, by your obedience to the world, by your sin, I get that part. And I say, now, listen to what you know is right in your heart. Listen to your soul. Listen to what you know is... Your sin is you never listen to what you know is right. You see? But you're listening to this. You, the real you, beyond the subconscious, it gladdens your heart. I'm saying, subconscious, I'll put these into words. Subconscious, do what you know is right. Conscious, I'm dividing it up so we... Soul, listen to me now. God forgives you. See? Your sin is pride. You see, it's all there. And that's what I'm really saying. So I'm doing two things. I'm uniting the soul, the body with the soul with God. Because I'm not the one that makes you doubt. I'm the one that makes you believe. And I say to the part of you that will believe anything, listen to your spirit. I say to the spirit, listen to your Creator. Your conscience is not your enemy. It's your friend. You know what's wrong with you, soul? I say, the same thing is wrong with you is because you doubted what you knew was right. And why did you doubt what was right? Because you're born inheriting, emotionally, connection to the world around you. Now I'm going to come along and say, don't listen to the world anymore. Listen to what you know is right in your heart. I talk to the subconscious that way, and it understands. Because it has the ability to respond to the world or to you. But you've got to be responsible. You've got to be committed. Otherwise it won't work. If you're not committed, you'll be committed. But if the soul isn't committed, it doesn't mean anything. It's just temporary. It's a temporary fix. See? The whole thing is to make a wholeness. The feel-think person has got to be reattached to the I know why I know without knowing why I know think person. See? And that part also has to be taught, shown. Hey, the only thing that's really wrong with you, the only thing why you lost control of your life is because you didn't trust your Creator. That conscience is your friend. So when you hear that inside, it's all over. You see? They're making sense to you? It's so hard to describe, so hard to describe. But I use hypnosis that way. I use my personal powers, if you like. Now, we're going to do a little hypnosis now, and I might be able to do a little bit of therapy. Because some of you may have need for that. I'm going to use the hypnosis in this way. I have to be very, very careful how I use the hypnosis. Because I don't want to hurt you. I can't use any extraordinary methods. If I was Svengali, I would have it all. I'd have the most important ingredient. I had the Bill Clinton quality, the Stalin quality. See, I'd have that Saddam Hussein power. That it sort of resonates through him. And every wicked person stands to attention because it recognizes the spirit, just like good people are inspired when they see Jesus. See that? The same thing. If Jesus and Saddam Hussein, if a Jesus-like person, or just Schwarzkopf and Saddam Hussein, Schwarzkopf's decent enough. Saddam Hussein. If nobody ever saw those two people, and they both stood on a platform and gave a lecture, immediately Saddam Hussein would win most of the audience. But then he's a polarizer, because he understands the hearts and minds of those other people. He sympathizes with it by his very presence. The Schwarzkopf, not that he's a good person, but just for the topic of conversation, he would be recognized differently. He's also a polarizer. He polarizes the good against the bad. The other guy polarizes the bad against the good. See, so this is what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with forces of good and evil. And if I had that spirit, that really wicked spirit, most people wouldn't have a chance. Even though, if Saddam Hussein came in here and stood before you, a Svengali who's good at what he does, even you in your present state would not stand a lot of chance, because he'd use unfair tactics on you, tactics you don't even understand. The sheer force of his wickedness is too much for most of you to bear. You'll be affected by it. You meet people like that once in a while. You've got to be careful of them. So, I know all those techniques. I cannot use them. So therefore, the percentage of the audience will be smaller than it would otherwise be, because I'm being very gentle. I don't want to use an extraordinary means like you would in a concentration camp. There's even more extraordinary means to intimidate people into submission, producing hypnotic states and states of doubt which transfer allegiance, where they kill those who they can't get that transference of allegiance and make them good communists all by themselves, so that they don't need to be attached to anything. They don't need any marching orders. They can send them to another country and they'll be sleepers, just waiting for an order. See, the allegiance to evil, you can go anywhere in the world, and it's still an allegiance to evil. You don't have to be in that country. So, and maybe I'm over your head here. I don't mean to be. So we're going to do a little exercise with your hands. Can you take your rings off? And because I'm going to ask you to clasp your hands together and just put your rings in your pocket or something, because you won't be able to squeeze your hands if you're. I have a little hand that comes up behind and steals all those rings. That's the method in my madness. Yeah. Now, this is going to. I'll spend 5 minutes with this, and this is. It's called the law of reversed effort. If you try, this is a simple test. Some people are triers, and you try too hard at something, something happens. Have you ever tried something? You try to screw a screw in, and you can't screw it in. And the more you try to screw it, damn it, the thing should go in. It doesn't go in. And the more you try, simple screwing in a screw won't go. So you walk away and leave it. An hour later, you come back, it goes right in. Well, that's called the law of reversed effort. The more you try, the more difficult you make it for yourself unconsciously. Now, we're going to use that law. So this is our first test. Because those of you who try too hard doing things will discover who you are. I said, let's try it, shall we? Ready? And then you produce a hypnotic state that way. But you've got to be willing. I'm not going to impose myself upon you. You're just willing to go along with the experiment? All agreed? If you don't want to do it, just don't do it, okay? Close your eyes. And remember, hypnosis is not what you think it is. And hypnosis, you won't even know that you are. You absolutely won't notice any difference. Mostly because you're in that state already anyway. That's right. To a degree. Although this audience is a more sophisticated audience and already has learned to be more resistant to it by your nature. But many of you are not at that stage yet. Just keep your eyes closed and start squeezing your hands together. The more you do it, the better chance we have of having an interesting evening. Start to squeeze your hands together. Now just increase the pressure. Just increase the pressure slowly. On my command, increase the pressure. On my command, increase the pressure. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. That's it. Keep squeezing, squeezing. Keep squeezing, tighter and tighter. Now you'll start to notice, as you start squeezing your hands, that they feel like they're not your hands. You actually feel a little strange about that already. And you'll notice that. But keep squeezing them anyway. Squeezing. Put your strength into your squeezing. It's harder, tighter, and tighter, and tighter, and tighter, and tighter. More. Keep increasing the pressure. Now, I want you to put as much effort into it without, getting out of breath. Just keep on squeezing. Put a lot of effort into that. Keep more. Tight, tight. Now, what's going to happen is the tighter you squeeze your hands, the more they will start to squeeze on their own, and you'll notice it. And when you try to when I ask you to try to unsqueeze your hands, you'll find that the hands will continue squeezing together by themselves. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. You cannot undo those hands. They will squeeze on their own. There are many people in this audience now, and you kind of know who you are, that when you try to unsqueeze them, they keep squeezing together. Now, stand up, those of you who cannot unsqueeze your hands. You cannot unsqueeze your... Stand up, please. Those of you who cannot undo your hands. Those there, thank you very much. Come up over here to the audience with your hands squeezed together. Come sit up here with me. Your hands will start to loosen up, but your head's going to get heavy. And you're breathing deeper. The head's falling forward, and you're relaxing your hands. And you're absolutely relaxed. Your head's getting heavier and heavier, heavier. Your head feels like big heavy weight. Good. Falling forward, falling forward, falling forward. Your whole body's falling forward now. Falling forward, falling forward. Relax like a sack of potatoes. Completely relax. Relax completely. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And squeeze your hands and head fall forward and relax. Let go. They're good. Very good. That's very good. Totally relaxed. Totally relaxed. Now, totally relaxed. Yes, that's good. Now, I'm going to touch each one of you, and that will be an instruction to listen to what I tell you. The person I'm touching, you feel like you weigh 500 pounds. Try to get out of your chair. Can't. Go ahead, try. Go ahead, try. You can't. You can't do it. Go ahead and try. You can't do it, can you? The more you try, you see that? Click, relax now. Don't try. Just become very relaxed. That's fine. Look, I'm going to help you in a few minutes, but I just want you to do something for me. I just want you to do something for me. Okay? You can get out of the chair when you're ready, but I remove that suggestion. But I'm going to give you another suggestion. I'm going to say to you, the gentleman I touch with my finger, your right shoe feels like it should be on the left foot. The left shoe feels like it should be on the right foot, and that's where they really belong. And I'm going to ask you to open your eyes and wake up in a minute, but whenever I touch you on the shoulder and say sleep, Go right back into that same condition. Would you do that for me, please? Thank you. And then I'm going to help you with a problem, because I know you've got one. Okay? But I want to show you something. Your right shoe feels like it should be on the left foot, and you have an irresistible urge to change your shoes around. Okay? And you'll do it within 2 minutes after I say open your eyes. Okay? And I'll count to 10, and then in a few minutes I'll tell you to open your eyes. Count to 10 backwards. And whenever I touch my hand, it will increase the compulsion to change your shoes around. Within 2 minutes, very close to 2 minutes, you'll have your shoes on the other feet. You understand that? I touch my tie, that will increase the impulse. Okay? I'm going to count to 10 backwards, to 0 from 10, and then you wake up. Whenever I touch you on your shoulder, you go back to sleep. Okay? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes. Wake up. How are you feeling?
Fine.
Okay. Maybe someone would like to hold her head up a little bit. She's having a nice sleep. Just put a cushion or something. Give her a little cushion, a little bit. Excuse me. Okay. What are you doing?
Putting my shoes on.
Okay. Okay. Now, why are they that way?
It's supposed to be that way.
Don't you
It
remember?
wasn't comfortable before.
You don't remember me telling you that ahead of time? Remember we were talking about me making a person come over and change their shoes around?
Mm-hmm.
Remember me saying that?
Yes, I do.
And you're sitting up here.
Yes.
And you change your shoes around. Now, why did you do it?
Because this one didn't feel right.
And they feel okay now. Well, how about those people over there? How they wear their shoes differently from yours? Can you,
I can't see what.
oh,
I
I beg your pardon. Yeah. Is this yours?
No.
There. There you are. Now, could you explain to me what these people are doing wearing their shoes differently from yours? Your shoes point outward.
Mm-hmm.
Theirs point inward. Could you please explain that?
I can't explain it.
Would you try
actually.
to explain the errors of their way?
You know, if you put the shoes on this way, it's going to feel comfortable.
You gotta have a better argument than that. I'm sorry, they're not going to buy that.
It's just stubborn of you to wear your shoes like that, because they should point out like this. More comfortable.
Don't you get irritated with people like that who don't listen?
Yeah.
Would you like to convince him, for instance? I think he needs to, convince him.
Gentlemen in the
Pick
jacket.
one. Pick one.
Well, if you wouldn't be so stubborn, you'd see that if you put your shoes in such a way that
Do I need to go any further? Now, the most gentlest of things I did, couldn't have been any gentler, but instantly transference. And he's actually not aware. He's somnambulistic, which means most of you are hypnotized, but you know that you are. Or you could know that you are because you see yourself doing stupid things and making excuses. Have you ever made an excuse for yourself? That is immutable evidence that you're hypnotized. That you've been moved, something has moved through you, and something has actually made you do something you didn't really want to do, or it was wrong, and you don't want to admit it's wrong, so therefore comes the excuses. You see his excuses. He's rationalizing it. Now, you don't remember me telling you to change your shoes around?
I do.
You do. But then why did you change your shoes around then?
You told me to.
Well, why did you do as I told you to?
Because it was uncomfortable.
See, even though, I'll be back with you in just a minute, even though this gentleman knows I'm the one that made him do it, he doesn't really believe it. It's really because they actually feel like he's gone to his feelings. They actually feel comfortable that way. They don't really feel comfortable that way at all. But that's the compulsion that you could make a person do anything. That's anything. But if it's a sin, it's much worse. This is parlor stuff. This is harmless. There's no harm to this. But you see that you may not know, and as he does not know, the forces that are working through him. And I'm a gentle soul. I'm really a sweet little gentle old Jewish boy. I don't mean any harm. But the forces operating through you and all of your compulsions, everything that's wrong with you can be explained like this. In other words, you're looking at this gentleman, and actually, that's you. That's your whole life. Every time you make an excuse, that's it. Your excuse is the evidence that you are denying the reality that something has moved through you and influenced you. When you start to see those excuses and stop making excuses, you see it and don't buy your own excuses, because something is giving you that excuse. I didn't give him that excuse. Something gave him that excuse. He invented that to explain his behavior. Isn't that an excuse trying to explain your behavior? But it doesn't really explain it. And if you live a life and you make excuses for everything you do, those excuses become your philosophy. And so you become utterly and completely confused, and you don't know where you're coming or going. That's why people get lost. The whole philosophy, there's no reality in their lives, just masses of excuses. And then when you stop making excuses of yourself because you run out of them, you get people to give you excuses. They'll give you reasons, plausible reasons, plausible deniability for all your problems, see? Okay? So, how are you doing? All right? You having a nice sleep? Rest? Just relax. So, now, now look, I don't want to make him make a fool of himself, make him do anything. And he won't know I made him do it. It could be anything. And communists understand use of hypnotism. They use it, millions of people. This is gentle stuff. This is not under duress. This is not in brainwashing camps. They know exactly how to induce those states. You ever see The Manchurian Candidate? Well, that's what we're talking about. You can insert instructions below the level of consciousness, and the person will think it to be their own instructions and will follow it to the letter, thinking they're doing their own volition. And you have hordes of people under Nazi control during the last World War. You have millions of Muslims now under the same kind of influence, blowing themselves up. Do you understand that? They don't know that they really believe they're doing God a favor. But they're under the influence of their sheiks and their clerics. You see, the consciousness of it comes to bear on it. Do you understand? You want to stop smoking? I notice nobody's smoking here. That's nice. But if you want to stop smoking, just be conscious of what you're doing. Conscious of the taste of the smoke in your mouth. Conscious of why you're smoking. You're smoking to deny. That's what you're doing. Conscious of. When you become completely conscious and it comes to bear on what you're doing, suddenly it's seen for what it is. You see it for what it is. It's poison. It's not a serpent. The servant is a serpent. See? Who understands that? Okay. Okay. Now let's talk to you about your problem, shall we? Sit up nice and straight now. We'll have a nice chat. And you still be asleep, but I want to talk to you. I want you to be totally honest. Okay? You can put your shoes back on the right feet now. You knew what the right feet was, you see. But now, see, This is a somnambulistic condition, and it needs to be fixed. And you want to get well, don't you?
Yes.
You're pretty much of an intellectual, are you? What would you class yourself? You're an educated man?
Yes. College.
What did you study?
Music.
Music, huh?
Music.
Oh, no wonder you're a somnambulistic person.
I understand that.
Escaping.
Yes.
Is it all you've ever learned is music? You don't have any real skills?
No.
It's not good. When you're a young person, were you running from something through music, you think?
Hate, anger toward parents.
Okay. Close your eyes just a minute and just revisit that. Be honest with you, it won't hurt you to look at it. I'm going to help you over it. Because you'd be a perfect person to be able to overcome this. It's very easy for you. You have a good spirit, don't you? You love where I'm coming from, don't you? You know that something's wrong, and you didn't have a good parent to guide you. Maybe not a good dad, huh? Mother, a manipulative mother? Hate your mother? And did she put hate in you towards your dad? And you couldn't be a real man, and you have conflict with yourself? Is that? I'm not putting suggestion in your mind. Just agree with me if it's true.
Yes, it's true.
Okay. And do you have any memory that keeps reoccurring that you keep struggling with?
No.
You want to be over this? But you kind of know what the problem is already. Do you know what makes you so suggestible? You are suggestible. You've noticed it? It's not just with me, is it? Is it you tend to be an appeaser, don't you? Right?
Yes.
And you resent the fact that people can manipulate you. You see? Mm-hmm. And that makes you angry.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes you angrier, and that makes you even more suggestible. It's almost like the spirit of your mother, isn't it? In other people. That you tend to try to appease.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't be a man. Because you're at war with your own manhood.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you resent your dad, you're at war with your own manhood, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be a man. You can be. So, I want you to feel is there any anger in there you can feel right now? Because now you've been repressing a lot of anger. Is there any anger? Think of something. You want to cry? You want to let it out. Because whatever feeling you have, please don't repress it anymore. You can vent it on me if you like. You want to get mad at me, I understand that, but just let it come to the surface. Come on, let it come to the surface. What are you mad about? Tell me what the thing you're mad about with your dad and mom. Tell me what is the thing that made you really angry? Just tell me what the thing is, because then we can remove it.
They're haters of the truth.
They didn't love the truth in you. You were a bright little kid. Tell me about it. Tell me what they did. What did they do to hurt you? To drive that out?
They didn't support me seeing them for what they were, and I knew what they were.
They confused you. They did Bill Clinton on you, didn't they?
Yes.
See? They made you doubt yourself. That's the root of the problem, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And so they reversed the order of your control from the inner to the outer. Right?
Yes.
So now, I think we're going to turn that back again. This is what my instruction is to you. My instruction is to you is that you shall be that little child again. You are that little child, and you always have been that little child, and you've always been a decent soul, but you've been brutalized. You've been degraded, but the sin was you didn't know any better. These little children don't know hating their parents. See what happens is when you have wicked parents. Sometimes you have wicked parents that are plain wicked, and they never get any better, and they don't want you to be any better. And sometimes you have parents that can't help themselves, but it doesn't matter which one they are. It's the same spirit, isn't it? So the important thing is that what's in your parents that should have been your guardian became the other, you see? And so they knew that if you hated them, you'd be separate from God. Because Parents, the Bible says, honor your mother and father, that your days may be long. It doesn't say you have to like them. You see, you can still honor the parent, but not hate the person. See what I mean? Honor the role, the station. See, but if you hate the person, you're separated from God, and then the thing inside the parent gets inside you, right? You've seen it, haven't you?
I sure have.
See, so therefore, wicked people, that's the reason why you must not hate people, because human beings are made in the image of God. The wickedness in a person wants you to hate the person, because the person is made in the image of God, especially a parent. That's the most dangerous place for the wickedness to be. And so when you hate the parent, it's causing you to hate God, because it separates you from your good, and it lets the evil inside you, and that's what controls you. Okay? And so, now you understand it. Can you forgive your parents? Even if you forgive them, even if they're wicked. If they're good parents, are they still alive?
Yes.
Have you ever confronted your parents?
Yes. Constantly.
But they continued making you doubt yourself, right?
Yes.
So, but you have a new spirit now. You're going to have it. You're going to have that spirit. You see, the thing is, when you're an innocent child, you don't have the power. You lose that first innocence. The second innocence is salvation. The second innocence has power. That means the power means you cannot be intimidated. So you can speak up to your parents, say, excuse me, father, excuse me, mother, I don't happen to agree with this. And they can yell and scream with all they want, and you stand there bold as you please. And you throw all the guilt back on them, because they can't lay it on you anymore. They only lay it on you when you get angry. And anger will be taken away from you because you found that light. See? It's true, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You feel different now, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You experience any light in you? You feel any warmth flowing through your body? You do. It was already there, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the inner light. That's the energy you move and have your being from. And from now onwards, you will do what you've always known to do since you were born, because you're gifted. You were gifted at birth. You could always see, but they made you not see. They made you doubt. You don't need to doubt anymore. You're free. See, I'm a messenger and I bear the news. I have control over you like your parents, except I'm giving you back to you. See that? You'll be all right now, won't you? You know it.
I do.
And you see, all you need to know now is you have the power not to be resentful anymore. And as you go through life, you look for the opportunity to be patient and calm, and no matter what people say, what people do, they're doing it to irritate you like your parents. And sometimes they do it without meaning to. But it doesn't matter, one way or the other. You still let it roll off you, like go right round you, like water off a duck's back, right? That you can do now, and it won't take any effort, because you're a man, you have the disciplines to do that. You're a musician, and it takes a lot of discipline to do that, even though it's not the best of things. It still takes a lot of discipline. You do that, you can do anything. But you can do this by virtue of something called grace. You have now empowered, you've realized your mistake, you've always longed to believe, but you couldn't, because your emotions separated you, they divided you. See, that's the secret. Resentment. No more resentments. Let it all go. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that's true, you can open your eyes, and nobody can ever do this to you again. No one needs to ever do this. Now, why did you change your shoes around?
They weren't comfortable.
Yeah,
You told me to. I don't know.
It's more honest, isn't it? It's more honest. How do you feel?
Good. I feel real good.
Okay. I think you'll be okay now if you just bear in mind that you have a state at this moment which I hope will last the rest of your life. The only thing that will destroy that is being angry with people. So therefore, you just meditate and get to that state of mind where I was nudging you just now. I could sort of walk you through that. Lift your consciousness comes up. See, and if you meditate and do that, just nice and gentle, does it. Preserve that state of fidelity by not falling to anger towards, and you'll have lots of opportunity to put a little space between you and the irritant. You know what I mean? So it doesn't wash over you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. You are having a nice sleep, aren't you? Huh? Having a nice sleep? Mm-hmm. Oh, good. Okay. You can sit up straight now. Sit up straight. Okay. What's your name?
April.
It's not easy to say your name. Try to say your name. Difficult. Say it. Try. Try to say it. Difficult. Try. It won't come out, will it?
No.
That's it. She's also in a good hypnotic state. I don't have to demonstrate this to her. You don't need that, do you? It's the same thing. So I just want to help her, if you don't mind. Okay? Let's use my time to help her. Want me to help you, April? Are you a very obliging young lady? Too obliging? Are you strong-willed or submissive?
Submissive.
Who caused you to be submissive? What made you submissive like that? You remember?
Mm-hmm.
Who?
My mom.
What'd she do? We're going to get rid of all this inside you now. You know that, don't you?
She tried to make me perfect.
Trying to make you perfect? And what kind of conflict did that sow in you? Did you try to please her and you never could please her? Is that what it was? And did she punish you harshly for not being perfect? Because
Yeah. Perhaps.
she did? Because she wanted to be proud of you? No?
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't do something wrong, she'd be angry with you. And you'd be angry back, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And then you felt guilty. You try hard to please, but you never could be perfect that way, because anger takes the very perfection away you're trying to be. Don't you see that?
Mm-hmm.
See it? So you don't have to be perfect. Because you cannot make yourself perfect. And I'm your dad. I'm the dad that you never had. Right? I represent the spirit of your father. That wasn't in him. He would have put a stop to that. I'm putting my foot down. It's not going to happen anymore. You don't have to try to be perfect. It's not possible. It is impossible. Be released from that. Be free from that. You understand that? Be absolutely free. Take one deep breath and let it go. Nice deep breath and be free. You don't have to please anybody anymore. The only thing you have to learn to do, and that take a little bit, if you make mistakes, it's okay. No one gets perfect in 5 minutes. Is to listen to your conscience. The trouble is you were appeasing your mother, and your conscience was causing you conflict. She was trapping you unconsciously into being perfect in the way that makes you imperfect. It's like the Catholic Church does that. Does the Catholic Church do that sometimes? Trying to make you perfect? Is that some of your problems out there? Yeah? Confessing to sins that you didn't commit just because confessions require it. You must have sinned, so therefore you make something up. So, you understand what I'm saying here? No, that doesn't apply to you necessarily, but you feel okay? Where's your dad? What happened to your dad? Where was he?
He's submissive to my mother also.
So you hate him too?
I don't hate him.
You feel sorry for him?
Mm-hmm.
But don't you miss his protection? Didn't you want him to protect you from your mother?
Sometimes.
Yes. You got some anger there too, haven't you? Fathers are supposed to rescue, aren't they? You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you a Christian young lady?
Oh no.
You're not sure? Well, you know about salvation. I spoke about it all afternoon. It's within you, waiting to unfold.
Scary.
Is it scary? Don't be afraid. All you have to do is realize that your anger towards your mother has created an impossible situation in you, and you're playing right into her hands. That poor lady, she may not know what she was doing. But even if she did it purposely, you have to forgive her. Then you won't have to serve her anymore. Is she still alive? Mm-hmm. Is she in the audience?
No.
No. Are you married?
No.
How old are you?
32.
Okay. Are you stuck at home?
No.
You're on your own?
Yes.
Does your mother bother you much?
Yeah.
She calls you up and...
Makes me feel guilty.
That's right. Well, are you going to speak up to your mother now? Say, Mother, go fly a kite in a thunderstorm? You can, you know. Say, Mother, with all due respect, you can go fly a kite in a thunderstorm.
But she's really fragile. She's so fragile.
She's fragile. Doesn't mind. You know, you're afraid to hurt her now, huh? Mm-hmm. You're afraid if you stood up to her, she'd fall apart.
Yeah.
Well, she needs to fall apart. I'm sorry. She's sucking on you, isn't she? Mm-hmm. Sucking your life, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's living off of you.
I think so.
Yeah. I think you say, Mother, but you be gentle with your mother. Say, Mother, sorry, you can't make me guilty anymore. But I don't resent you anymore. I know maybe you don't know what you're doing to me, but I'm making you conscious of it, so that you do know what you're doing to me. Because if you didn't know before, you had an excuse. See, but now you do know. You no longer have an excuse to do to me what you've been doing. You understand that? You throw the guilt back on her. Do you think you could do that? Yes. Are you brave enough to do that?
Uh-huh.
If your mother falls into like the Wicked Witch of the North and disappears into a puddle, you're going to be bothered by it?
No.
No, I wouldn't either. Because the truth, it does something, it helps people, or it does something else to them, you see. They have a choice. You've got to give them that choice. At least you're giving her much more of an opportunity than she gave you. Right?
It's true.
So therefore, you're going to love her. And love her means don't hate her. You're not a little girl anymore. You're a full-grown woman. And you don't relate to her like you're a little girl trying to please her, because she's a manipulating lady, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she's destroyed your father, and he allowed himself to be destroyed. But you see, he allowed himself because he needed mother. See, and you need mothering too. And that's not healthy. You see, you're giving yourself to the dark side of your mother. And that's not good for her either. It's not good for her to give yourself like that, is it? You want a life, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, you feel better already, don't you? Mm-hmm. You know you can do this. Take a deep breath. Is there anything else you want to tell me that might be helpful? You want me to erase? Anything you want me to erase? Get rid of.
I was brought up in a really strict religious background.
Religious background?
And I'm afraid to fall again because
But you've never risen.
Yeah,
I understand that. So your mother's a religious nut.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the problem. She justifies wickedness with religion. I understand that. So what do you mean you're afraid to fall again? You thought you were saved?
I felt like I was on a path that was good, and I fell
into
darkness.
No, you've always been on the path. You just be confused, that's all. So you've never fallen, because you've never been saved. You still have that option. You see, there's a dark side that makes you think you've fallen and never can be saved. See what I mean? It's not true. You've never been saved. You've been deceived again. And you try to make the salvation work, just like you try to make your perfection work with your mother. It's not going to work. You don't need to make yourself saved. You don't need to make anything work. God works through you. Relax. You don't have to save yourself. You don't have to save your mother. Only you have to be honest. You see what you know is right. God gives you have common sense. That's why you're here. You hear me in the depth of your unhappiness. You heard me on the radio and you knew that I was talking to, that you knew you needed to be here. Right or not?
Mm-hmm.
Was it right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, what was wrong about that?
I have a friend who turned me on to listening to you.
Okay.
And I came because he wanted me to.
Oh, so this is the first time?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's nice. So, well, that's even nicer. You're going to get more help than you realized. What I'd like you to do, this is a free choice. I don't want anything. See, I have to wake you up in a minute because I'm doing something with you now that's taking away all the garbage. And I know that when I speak about religion, I'm not speaking about the religion of your parents. I'm speaking about common sense. Did you know that common sense is a religion? Is the religion that all those people who verse and chapter you to death and try to make you goose step to everything? See? Like an actor on the stage. Did you know that what Jesus came to give us was freedom from religion? See? And when you understand how easy it is, religion loses its power over you. That's all there is to it. You only have to trust your common sense. And you know what common sense is? You had it since you were a child. It's there. All you have to do is know that it's there, and that's the saving grace of your Creator. It's simple. That's what the Bible's talking about, except language is different. Trust, believe in what you know is right in your heart. All I'm doing is reinforcing that. I'm reinforcing your belief in what you know is right in your heart. I'm saying don't believe. You don't have to resent the church or your mother because they set you up to reject the very good that was intended to do. You see what I mean? If you goose step to everything and try to be perfect and listen to the external authority, it never works. Just frustrating. But if you listen to what's right in your heart, that's where it's at. Understand? Feel better? Tell me how you feel now.
More relaxed.
More trust yourself?
Yeah.
You see, now it's okay to see that you resented your mom. It's okay to see that you resented your dad for failing you. Okay? But it's not okay to go on resenting them. So let their anger go because they didn't know any better. I don't know if it's that true or not, but even if they did know better, you still you forgive them anyway. And make sure that you treat them, you deal with them as respectfully. Yes, Father, you failed me, if you want to speak that way to him. You know you always were submissive to mother, and I didn't have respect for you, Dad. See? So I just wanted you to be my dad. Talk to him that way, even if he doesn't want to listen to you. Even if he closes his ears up. You still hold your ground. If you want to say that to him, it's up to you. If you feel that's in your heart to do it, then you do it, and you finish with it. Or you can go on and say nothing to them if you want to, and go on with your life. And keep it a secret for a while. They won't know what caused the change. If they don't know what caused the change, they can't attack it. See that? So it's up to you. Choose. Fair enough? Okay. Anything else? Anything else you want me to get rid of? Are you clean now? Clear?
I don't know.
All right, well, the things will come to the surface. You know how you deal with them? As they come to the surface, don't get upset with them. Just watch them. They go away. Don't be angry at seeing things. Because then they come to the light. And I know you don't know how to deal with it, but you don't have to. Just watch it. And let the light take care of it. That's it. No more struggle. Perfecto, effortless. Got it? Okay. Wake up now. Hello? How do you feel?
Weird.
A little strange, right? You know why? Because you look around you and it feels like you're a bit distant, right? Distant.
I forgot I was in a room with people.
Yeah. You see, and also as you look around, you feel like you're sort of like a visitor from another planet. You know what I mean? It feels that way a little bit. It feels like you're just distant. It's like everything looks like new.
That's true.
You see? It's new. If any man be in Christ, he becomes a new creature. See, different eyes. But look, I recommend, if you choose to do my meditation, that you just practice that meditation, and it will raise you. It will keep the state of mind that you're in right now. It will keep it, and you will be stronger and stronger and stronger. Become your own person.
Started doing it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Okay. Open your eyes. Okay. Now close them. Oh, this is what I want you to do. With your eyes closed, follow this instruction. I'm going to move my thumb up like this, and I want you to follow with the pupils of your eyes, like looking upward slowly. But follow me very slowly. Ready? With your eyes closed, just follow the movement of my thumb up. Start rolling your eyes upward, following it, until your eyes stick together. See? Okay? Now, you find it difficult to open your eyes now? Yeah, you see, that's good. Now your head's getting heavy. Falling forward, falling forward. Head's falling forward, go ahead. Falling forward, falling forward, falling forward, falling forward. Open your eyes, see what's look on your chest. What's that?
Okay.
How do you feel? Nothing?
I feel sad. I feel sad.
Go on, what else?
I feel very sad because
Go on,
I've been so upset because
go on.
of all the ugly stuff I did to me when I was a little girl.
Forgive it.
Let
go.
The way they would just leave me down my grandmother's, and I didn't want to be with her and my grandma. I didn't want to be with them. I didn't want to be there. She would always leave me there. Always. And I hated it so much, you know. And my mother had a baby, and she didn't want me near the baby because I think they would do nasty things to me. Somebody was doing nasty things to me, and I would do nasty things to the baby. And I was only like 5, 4, and then she would send me down my grandma's because she didn't want me down near the baby. She didn't want me near my little brother. And then my grandfather would molest me and touch me down there. And he never raped me or anything, but he would just touch me down there. And everything was so ugly. Everything was ugly. And then they had a dog. A big brown dog that would always knock me down. And my mother would never do nothing about it, like he wanted to lick me down there or something. Real ugly, a lot of ugly things when I was a little girl. Such ugly things, and I think about those things all the time. And I don't want to. And I just, how could my mother have done that to me? Why wasn't she there?
You know why?
It was just something so ugly.
It was.
And my uncles, my aunts were all there.
What did you learn?
They never paid attention.
What did you learn
to me.
from all this? That what's hurt you more than anything is your own anger.
Yes.
That's what keeping it alive, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
So that's the past.
Yes,
Do you still want to keep living the past in the present so it becomes your future?
No.
Or you want to take hold of your life now?
Yes.
You have a gift.
Mm-hmm.
They could not help themselves.
I know.
You've done things that you couldn't help.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You've done silly things, haven't you?
Yes. Yes.
Have you done nasty things yourself? You tried not to. Am I right?
Yeah.
Have you done some what you call nasty things? You don't have to say what they are.
No.
You never did any nasty things?
Well, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you couldn't help yourself, could you?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Well, they couldn't help themselves either.
Yeah, I know.
That's why Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do."
I know.
So you see, it's not them. That It's not them that is to be hated. If you hate your parents, you're actually inviting evil.
Yes.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
It's evil. It's evil wants you to hate your parents, and it makes your parents do those things.
Yeah.
And they were possessed just like you are, to some degree.
Yes.
It acts through them, and it acts through you. And so, if you want to stop it acting through you, you have to let your parents go. You can.
Yes.
It's not important anymore,
It's not important.
is it?
No. But it hurts.
I know, but you can listen. It hurts,
It hurts.
but don't hate the hurt.
No, don't.
You see? Can you draw a distinction between when you think of it, it hurts? It's okay to think of it, and it hurts, but don't resent the hurt. Don't rekindle it. It will die. You got to learn to do that. I can't take that away from you.
No.
But you can make it. You can make it go away by understanding what I just said.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
It's so hard for me to concentrate. When somebody talks to me, I can't concentrate.
No, because you're preoccupied. You're
I
preoccupied.
could never concentrate about anything. When I used to go to school, there was no concentration.
Yeah.
I could never do anything, concentrate, nothing.
You know why?
Nothing.
Because you're angry. Because you were caught up in the anger cycle all your life, haven't you?
Yes. I can't concentrate right now. I can't remember my address sometimes.
I know.
I get my phone number.
But how long have you been listening to me now?
I haven't listened to you for a long time because of your the time. But before I used to listen to you. But my husband listens to you all the time.
How is he? How is your husband?
Oh, he's good.
He's a good man?
He's a very good man.
You giving him a hard time, are you?
Yes, like
You're giving him a hard time. You're projecting onto him.
I yell at him because he uses slippers, like, just real simple things. I yell at him.
I know, but that's not healthy.
No, it's not healthy for
him or you. Not for you either.
Not for me.
No.
Not for me.
All right. Well, this is you're just starting on the meditation, are you?
Yes.
All right. So.
No. I have your tapes, but I want to meditate. I want to meditate, and I say I'm going to meditate. I'm the one that I told you that I was imagining tarantulas, real life ones.
I don't remember that.
Yes, I was here a year ago, and I was imagining tarantulas in my room. Yeah. Live ones, big ones like this.
Careful, don't brush them on me. Just kidding you.
Okay. But I don't anymore. I don't imagine those things anymore. I don't. Since I lost the weight and I'm in control of my weight.
Look, I think you're on your way, but you got only to the degree. Now, listen, understand this. You're going to have to learn to separate from your thoughts. You're going to have to learn that meditation.
Yes.
I can't do everything for you. There's something you need to do for yourself. So you use that meditation. And I don't want to spend time with you because it's not going to be fruitful at this point for me to converse with you anymore. But you're on your way. Make sure you meditate and get above thoughts. And when you do, you'll find that you have more power over how you react to things.
Okay.
So whenever you have a memory coming up from the past, and it does bother you sometimes, stand back from the memory, feel the hurt, but not the resentment towards it. And to the degree you let go of that resentment towards the hurt of the past will disappear. You see what children have to go through?
Yeah.
This is nothing unusual. This is commonplace all over the world. The children have a chance. And this is a free country. Look what we do to each other in a free country. And even so, you see how it lingers? It lingers and lingers and lingers. Even though, the parents are dead and who did it to you, you transfer to somebody else that keeps doing it to you. A father, a mother. You keep away from your family?
I keep away from my mom. My mother just lives a mile away, and she's in a convalescent home, and I'm supposed to go and visit her, but I can't put myself to do it because I want her to admit that she did wrong to me.
And she won't.
She won't admit it. She won't even talk about it.
Then you leave her alone. But, however, you can still go visit your mother if you want to.
I should.
I tell you how you do it. You go visit her because you go visit the body. You go visit the station and don't have pity for her. Forgive her.
Forgive us.
And don't try to talk her into admitting it, because you cannot force a person.
No.
You cannot make a person. You get frustrated if you try to make a person admit they're wrong to you.
Yes.
See? I'll tell you how you should do it. You'd like to know how you could do it?
Oh.
I'll tell you how you could do it. I'll give you a suggestion. See if you like this. You go see your mother. Say, Mother, with all due respect, I have to admit I did something. I've did something wrong to you. I have guilt. I want to express it. And your mother will listen. And this is what you say to her: Mother, I've always hated you all my life, and I'm sorry for that. I didn't know any better. I was a little girl. But then you stop there for a moment, see what kind of reaction, and then you continue. But Mother, you were hateable. See that? Now, you throw it back on her and let her squirm. And I said, I forgive you for that, Mother, because I've already forgiven you for it. I'm not asking you for any forgiveness. But I know that it's not right to be hateful, and I'm sorry for that. I'm telling you that. But I'm telling you the truth now. I couldn't tell you when I was a little girl. You are hateable because you did all those things. Do you realize you did all those things? And she'll do one of two things. She'll throw you out, she'll yell and scream, or she'll have a little cry, and then she'll die in peace. All right? But it doesn't matter to you one way or the other. It should not matter. You've got to get rid of the idea that she has to own up to what she did to you. She doesn't have to. And you must not suffer the frustration of trying to make her. Do you see how that makes it worse for you? All you have to do is lay it back on her. And if she starts carrying on, quietly say, Mother, we'll talk another time, and go back home, and then you'll be free.
The thing is that we never argue. We always talk about, we laugh and things like that. But
no, but you haven't confessed.
Yeah,
you haven't told your mother. You haven't told your mother you hated her.
No.
Am I right?
No, I don't want to bring anything up.
You know, but you can bring you up. You don't have to bring her up. You're free to bring you up. Do you understand that? You've got to do that. You got to bring you up to your mother. Mother, I have a guilt. I have to tell you I did something wrong. Oh, really, dear? What is it? I hated you when I was a kid. Oh, dear. Well, but I'm sorry for that. I'm not asking you for forgiveness. I'm just sorry for it. You can forgive me if you want to.
Yeah.
But you're hateful. You are hateable. And that's what. And I'll tell you why you're hateable. You did this and this. I understand you had some bad parents too, and that's why I'm making allowances for it. Now she can do with that whatever she wants. But she's got to be confronted. No one ever had the love to confront her before. You have to find the love to do that if you're going to go see her. All right?
I always talk about him, Paul. I should go and see my mother.
No, you're missing. No, you're missing. See, you're in denial now. You're missing. You're not following what I'm saying. I'll tell you one more time.
Okay.
What did I just tell you?
You told me to go over there to tell her how much I hated her.
Yeah, no, to admit something to her. That you say that right away.
Yeah, I see that. Right.
So you say, I have something to tell you, a secret I need to tell you, and I'm embarrassed about.
Yes.
Mother, I resented you all my life. Then you've got to get it out of your chest.
Yes.
But don't do it until you're ready.
But don't do it with anger.
Don't do it until you really feel in your mind that you can go there and not try to convince her that she's wrong. There's only going to be frustration. And I know your knees are going to tremble. Your knees are going to knock because you try to make a good relationship with your mother. You try to keep peace with her. Is that right?
I never talked to her.
Ah, well, now you have to.
I never talked to her because
She didn't want to hear it.
I feel like I can't go over there to show her any affection because I have anger in her.
I understand that. When you're ready to drop the anger, when you're ready to let it go, then you do what I just suggested.
Yes.
Okay, go sit down now.
Thank you very much.
So, a little bit dense, but you'll be all right.
Okay.
All right, let me just we've got a little bit. Let's try something. Just quick. This is my little stethoscope. See, there's no volunteers. I'm not looking for a volunteer. I'm just looking to see someone who's susceptible. Anybody feel anything as I went by? What did you feel? You feel tears coming, don't you? Come out. It's all that anger, isn't it? Out it comes. Be finished with it. She's having a real exorcism. Come out. You'll be all right. It'll pass. Who do you hate? Come on, tell me who you hate. Who is it?
Everything.
Everything. Everything that God makes? Yourself?
Yeah.
Don't need to. It's not you, is it? It hates. It's not you. It's not you. All that suppressed anger all your life?
Yeah.
It's all suppressed.
I feel electricity on my hands.
You feel like your hands turn to claws?
Electricity.
Come on, stand up here. Just come over here. Stand up here. Come here. Sit over here. It's all right. No, you can sit there if you want to. Then you can sit right here. Sit down right there. Okay. Okay. Because you're scaring the people next door. You'll be all right. It'll be over in a minute. It'll be over in a second.
This for the last 10 years.
I know, it needs to come out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it drives me.
But don't get angry with it, see? I don't need your help. I don't need you to help me. Just let it happen. Let it happen, you'll be all right. It's your anger. You see, I see the frustration you have with it.
Yeah.
See, it feeds on it.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it happen. So you're going to be okay. Once you understand that, that's the trick. It tricks you to struggle with it. And it makes you mad with it, and it becomes you. See? Okay? Come out now. You haven't got a chance. You haven't got a chance. What's your name? What's your name? You have a name? Come on, give me a name.
Rage.
Rage, and that's it. That's right, it is a name, isn't it? Do you know by what authority I speak to you? You're to leave her now. Do you hear what I said?
No.
Yes. By the authority of this cross, come out. So I told you that you only have to go across the audience. There'll be several others. Anybody feeling strange? Anybody else feeling You feeling it? Yeah, you are. You too? You better come up here too. Just come and sit down. I might as well have a... I can do more than one at once. Listen, let me try you. There's something right there. There's something right there, isn't it? Right? You'll be okay too. You want to share? You want to share what you're going through? Help me to help you. Anytime you're ready. Anytime you're ready.
I've been afraid all my life. I've been afraid of something.
What are you afraid of? You know what you're afraid of? Have you identified what the fear is? Yeah?
Not exactly.
You want me to tell you?
Yes.
Hate makes you afraid. Doesn't it? Hate is the other side of hate is fear. Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm resisting now. I don't know. I feel like I'm resisting something.
Don't resist it. Relax. Just let it come. Let it come out. Let it come. Whatever it is, bravely face it, because you won't get better unless you're ready to go through the experience. Don't be afraid. Nothing's going to happen to you. Nothing's going to happen to you. It'll just be over in a minute.
I've resisted all my life, getting better.
What? Well, but
something's wrong. Something.
There's something buried in there you don't want to face? What is it? Come on now. Even if you don't want to tell me, just at least face it. Just look at it. It's horrible.
I don't know what it is.
But whatever it is, you buried it below the level of consciousness. That's what you've done. You can't deal with it that way. You can't go on like that with it. Come out. Come to the surface. Come to the surface. Come on. You know what it is. Because you know what it is because you keep pushing it down. That's why you know what it is. You have a memory of it. You have a memory of it. It's in your consciousness. You know what it is. You don't want to be reminded, but you got to face it. You got to do it. You got to get rid of it. Don't be afraid. That's what's making the fear. That's what's making the guilt. It's just tying you in knots. Come on now.
I can't seem to move through it.
Yeah.
Something's too hard to face, I guess.
It's easy to face. It's easy to face. Don't resent knowing it. Don't resent knowing it. Come on now. Come on. Were you molested?
No.
Give me a clue. Give me a clue. Come on. Did you see someone die? What? You saw something done to someone or done to you?
I think seeing my
Go on. Go on. It's there.
I think it's seeing my father subjugated to the strength of my mother and to her hatred and her unforgivingness.
And you have unforgiveness in you towards your dad? You feel
I love my dad. I don't.
Was he a good man?
He is a good man.
Well then, why don't you let him fight his battles? Yeah?
He's not doing it.
He's not doing.
I'm not doing it either. I don't feel whole enough to do it myself.
So you can't do it because you resent your dad. I know you do. You must resent your dad because he set a bad example. He set the pace for you. His weaknesses become yours, and you resent both your mother and your father. That's what it is.
His weakness has become mine.
What? What's that?
I believe that's true.
Yeah. That's all.
I believe his weakness, and I'm weak, and I don't want to be weak anymore.
But you resent your own weakness. That's what makes face your weakness. That's strength. That's strength. That's what strength is. Come on now, let go. Come on, it's not so important. You've made it bigger than it is. Come on. You made it bigger than it is.
I don't know if I can get through this. I don't know.
Yeah, you are.
I want to. I want to end it here. I want to end the pain now.
Well, it doesn't have to end right now. It doesn't. It has to start right now. It has to begin. Are you willing to see that, I resented my dad because I inherited his weakness? But the resentment has made you weak. It's the anger towards him that's made you like him.
I don't feel angry at my father. Yeah. I feel sad for him. I feel sad for him. I don't know.
No,
I don't feel I'm resentful. But he couldn't help it. He couldn't help passing that on to me. So I don't feel resentment. That's too powerful because I love him so much.
No, you don't love him. You feel sorry for him. You feel sorry for him. That's not love. You feel guilty for hating him, and you're loving out of guilt. You're loving out of guilt.
I love out of guilt.
Yeah. You feel guilty for hating him. You're bonded to him.
Please, I want to get through this. I'm having trouble moving through it.
I know it.
What do you mean? If I bonded with him?
You're bonded. You become like your mother. You become like your father.
I am.
But you resent it.
God.
It's the same as resenting your dad. It's the same thing. You got to stop resenting it. Look, are you resenting it now? You see this tension? You see this tension? That's resentment. See that tension? See that frustration you're going through?
Yeah.
Become aware of it. Become aware of it. No, listen.
Frustrating. It's frustrating.
No, frustrating is the resentment. No, the resentment.
It's the resentment.
What the frustration is called anger. Frustration at yourself is the anger.
Anger. I don't get it.
No.
Tough.
It's not.
I don't want this to be tough to get through.
Hold it. Hold a second. Hold a second. Well, one more time. Now just relax. Just relax. Okay, enough confession for one day. You just relax now. Just relax. There you are. So stop resenting it now. You don't have to get through anything. You don't have to do anything. You just have to look at it. Nothing more than that's necessary to get better. Nothing. The struggle is what makes it worse. And the frustration with yourself, it's got to go. You sit quietly there now for a minute. And how are you, sir? Are you all right now, young man?
She said everything that was on my mind.
Yeah, that's it. I'm glad.
I just found out about you a couple of days ago. And I've begun trying to meditate for a long time, trying to get the pain away.
No, you can't no, the pain's good. The pain is not a bad thing. It's when you resent the pain and struggle with it, it gets worse. So now you just be a man. If you want to be a man, face the pain. And just bear it. It's there. And don't let it irritate you to fight it. That's it. That's the beginning. That's the beginning, my friend. It really is. Okay, open your eyes now. Sit up straight. Okay? You're going to start meditating now. You'll be all right. This is new for you, see? This is the awakening. This is the awakening. I know you've been through hell, right?
I put myself through it.
I know. See, it's not so bad after all. It's really not so hard. You made it just more difficult than it would otherwise be. That's all. See? Just relax and let it go. Stop struggling. You're weak like your father. Okay. And now you can realize maybe you feel the same resentment towards your father that your mother feels. There's a strange feeling that when mothers hate your husbands, women hate their husbands, you may actually feel what your mother feels towards your dad, and you may not realize it. And that caused you to reject your own manhood. See, it can cause you to do that. So you may have additional angers that you don't know, but not your anger. It's not your anger towards your dad. Except you don't like to feel the anger towards your dad, and it turns into wanting to love him. See, like a woman with a man. It's guilt. Anger turns to guilt, and guilt turns to an affection for the hate object. See, affinity for the hate object. You want to help him. You want him so badly to be a dad, a good example, but he won't. He doesn't know how, and then you continue resenting because he keeps failing you. See, and that's how women feel towards their husbands. See, something like that, roughly. Okay. Were you having a little exorcism there?
I don't know. I don't feel like the devil's in me or anything.
No, but just it's traumatic. Something traumatic. Something traumatic.
Something traumatic. Yes, and
Yeah.
You know, all my life, I've tried many different things to try to heal this, and there's always been something that's come up that has gone against the healing. And even right now, it's like there's still some kind of a question. There's some kind of a question if I can do it. See, I wasn't under hypnotized. I heard you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
You know?
But see, the thing is but I think you are possessed. I think there's a possession there, and I'll tell you why. Because it's telling you that it's something that you have to do, and that's a lie. Whatever you do will only make it worse. It's tempting you to be brave and to overcome your fears. It's tempting you to give that to yourself. You're not able to.
That's right.
You're not able to. And if you try to be perfect, and if you try to be what you want to be, the struggle itself will make it opposite. You see that? And that you must not listen to that lie. It's a lie. You can't listen to that lie. It's a lie. Because you're trapped by that lie. It's like you're dealing with the devil. It's like in the secret place of your mind. It's like that. See? You don't have to. Remember the lady I spoke to about trying to be perfect because her mother tried to make her perfect? She tried to make her perfect. She couldn't be perfect no matter how much she tried.
Yeah.
Her mother would never be satisfied, and she couldn't. The more she tried to be perfect, the more imperfect she became. It's the same with you. You just relax. Just let it go. I know it's a painful thing to realize, but it's all quite simple. It must be much simpler than you think. It cannot be complicated as you cannot do it. And the first thing you realize of yourself, you can do nothing. It's okay to understand that. And the only thing only thing you have the power to do is realize, of myself, I cannot do anything. That's the first truth. And you feel helpless and weak. And so that's okay, because it's called humility. Let go and let God. That's what you do. Let go and you let God. It's that simple. You just trust me. It doesn't. You've been trusting this other voice long enough. Why can't I get a shot? I'm a voice too.
I know that you know. Yeah, I know.
See, you know that I know, and that's good enough. You don't have to know more than that right this minute. More is not necessary. You're just about to awaken. And it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Just don't struggle. Don't fight it. Because don't try to do something with what you can't do. You can't do it. It's not possible. And that doesn't mean to say you failed if you can't. It's just to relax and realize there's a light in you that says, let go and let me do it. All you have to be is man enough to admit that you're helpless before whatever it is. That's all you have to do. That's being a man. Men face truth. And it's painful to face the truth, but you must. It's humbling. And there's a dark side of you that doesn't like that because it has you. See that? And it keeps lying to you. See, you've got to make yourself a better person, or whatever language it uses, I don't know.
Right.
You know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a liar. It's a liar. It's a liar.
It's a liar, huh? It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked, so it has to be a liar. So.
That's right, it has to be. You got it. Your logic, your realization's kicking in. And then when you don't have to believe it anymore, and then you don't have to try anymore. Don't you see that? That's it. That's all there is to it. There isn't any more to it than that right this minute. Enough is enough for 1 minute, this minute of time. The rest will come to you naturally. You've got good sense. You've got common sense. Listen to it. You've been deceived, and your emotionality has tangled you. It's entangled you, embroiled you with the process. The more you get angry with it, the more it possesses you. See? The more you fail, the more it laughs at you. See? That's it. That's it. So you should let it go. It's been there a long time.
Oh, yeah.
You're still a young man. You've got a whole life in front of you. You have a whole life in front of you. To make good. The simplicity of life. It's a very simple thing. Am I right? It's not that hard. Not that hard. Just relax. Just relax. Don't let you relax. Just loosen up. Loosen up. Yeah. This moment will pass. Okay? This moment will pass. Come on. Just be aware of your hands. Be aware of both of your hands. Just be aware of them. Okay? Just feel them warm and tingling. See? You can put your hand on your lap. Be aware of your thumb. Beware of your finger. Beware of this finger. Beware of this one. Beware of this. Just shift your attention. Just be aware. So make your hands warm. Make them tingle. Just be aware of your hand. Just don't worry about your problem right now. Just shift your attention from one finger to another. Keep doing that. Thumb. Be aware. Can you doing that?
It's tough.
Just be conscious. Come on. Just be aware. Just bring your attention as though you're looking through the middle of your forehead right there. See if you can visualize your hand on your lap. That's it. And then the thoughts will grab you, but bring your attention to one finger at a time. That's called a meditation. That's called meditation. That's connecting. You're connecting with your body. You're beginning to command your body when you do that. That's all. When your thoughts come into your mind, whatever they are, you just look at the thought and go right through the thought to your finger, first finger, the second finger. See that? See how you do that? And something wants to pull you away from seeing. So you're connecting to your body now. That's what they call meditation. That's when you go home, you'll practice that meditation, and you'll be okay. Okay, right? Okay, open your eyes. Okay, open your eyes. Okay. Wake up. Okay? Okay?
Conscious of everything that you said.
I know you are. Okay, how are you doing? How are you doing, young lady? All right? You meditating yet? Have you started to meditate? If you just learn to do what I tell you, you've got to starve that thing within you. And you've got to learn to be patient.
The pain is so unbearable.
I know.
The pain is unbearable.
I know, but it's only, let me tell you why it's unbearable, shall I? Because every pain is bearable if you don't hate it. Every psychological pain at least. It's only made worse by your struggle with it, by your anger with the pain. The pain is made worse. Even if you have physical pains. A lot of people have accidents, and for years and years and years, they have pain. Even though the accident's gone away, the pain gets worse and worse and worse. There's a reason why that. And I'll just close with one thought here. Many years ago, I had a boat, and I used to go to the boatyard and paint my boat. It's a poisonous stuff you put on the bottom to keep the barnacles. And so I met a man who was poisoned by this. He had broke out in rashes. And every time he smelled the paint, he'd break out in rashes, even though the paint is not there anymore. And had he not resented his sickness, he wouldn't have photographed it. It wouldn't have become a trauma. So therefore what happens is it becomes an imprint. So every time he sees it and smells it, it awakens the symptoms. And then he resents the symptoms, and you have an untreatable illness. All the drugs and all the pills in the world. So you see, if you resent any pain, if you resent any injury, and you resent the inconvenience of it, or whatever, you resent the person who did it to you, and it was a real injury, the pain can remain for the rest of your life, getting worse and worse, even long after the injury is gone, and the doctors can't find what the problem is. Then they operate, and they make it worse. Now you resent the doctor. You see? Compounds it. Because you want relief. You would do anything to submit to anything to get rid of the pain. The only thing you had to do is realize, aha, I didn't deal with that injury right. And as soon as you do that, pain starts to go away. See? You mustn't struggle with your struggle. I've had plenty of pains in my life. And I'm going to go through more yet. It ain't over. All that happens is you prepare yourself for future pains. Because life is pain. And you've got to learn to deal with the pain of humiliation and degradation. Life wasn't meant to be safe. If you're safe, you never grow. A safe matador is never going to be a matador. Right? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. Thank you. I hope you'll be okay.
For additional information, please contact the Foundation of Human Understanding at P.O. Box 1000, Grants Pass, Oregon 97528. You may also call us toll-free at 1-800-877-3227. And be sure to visit us on the World Wide Web at www.fhu.com.